maybe you would expect a lot of the mainstream media to take up some of these concerns that are being raised by the population of the United States and citizens of the United States, but that is not always the case. Some of the media outlets have been very much forward, saying this is maybe the technology that we need to feed the world or to help the disadvantaged countries. So I haven't seen a lot of critical journalism towards this technology, especially from the mainstream media. What has been your take on this? Why do you think mainstream media doesn't really want to take this direction of actually questioning, hey, is this technology safe? What is the science behind it? Can we help people get to understand more? Why do you think there's been this way around of the mainstream media not reporting this kind of science?
Yeah, unfortunately, the mainstream media has repeated the biotechnologies industry's talking points that GMOs are going to feed the world, they're going to create more nutritious foods, they're going to reduce pesticides, all of which have not become true at all. So, and there's pressure, like particularly in the US, the biotech industry has a lot of influence, and any reporters that speak out about GMOs, they tend to be pressured by their editors. I think of in particular, a journalist who worked for Reuters news service, Carrie Gillum, who wrote many articles about genetically modified crops and also glyphosate herbicide. And she was starting to cast a skeptical eye on these areas. And Monsanto contacted Reuters and basically told their editors, hey, she shouldn't be doing this. It's not true. What she's saying isn't true. And they got her editor to pressure her to stop. And she eventually left Reuters and is now on her own and has written several books about the problems with glyphosate herbicide. So there's some of that going on too, that the biotech industry will put pressure on journalists and news services. And it's interesting, whenever there's studies published that show there's negative effects with genetically modified foods, the researchers who publish those studies are attacked by the biotech interests and viciously, attacked about it, and their careers are threatened, and a lot of pressure is put on researchers as well as journalists who try to speak out about GMO risks. And there have been studies showing negative impacts, quite a few studies actually showing negative impacts of GMOs. But it's hard to get those studies published because the universities, like in the US, are basically working with the biotech industry. So they have no interest in making their corporate sponsors look bad by publishing research showing negative impacts. So the whole industry, the biotech industry, exerts a lot of influence on the media and the universities. So coming out with information showing negative impacts on GMOs is pretty rare in mainstream media.
I can imagine so as well. In your case, has there been like maybe an attack on your work, on some of the articles that you've published on your website?
Yeah, in fact, this past week we posted something on Twitter about our website. We have a lot of good information showing negative impacts of GMOs. And immediately there was a bunch of pro-GMO people that came in and commented and saying, you're saying, oh, you're putting out false information, lies, GMOs have been proven to be safe and all this other stuff. So that has happened. I mean, I haven't been threatened or anything like that, but it's mainly been on social media, that on our Facebook page or our Twitter feed, that I've gotten attacked by the pro-GMO people.